I've been in a run, for the sun. In my gun, with my black gold gums. I'm no fun, I'm no fun. Blood run, marathons down my chest. I'm a mess, and I'm running gonna clean up. Pull up a fill up a sight. I've been in microphone, brand new soul. Then hit a brand new low. Then hit another goal for we get so. Here we
Sammy, can you hear me? There is no video. The video just crapped the bed on us. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to fix it, okay? All right, there we go.
There we go. Yep.
Sorry about that. Some difficulties. I don't know what happened. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk. I am your host, the King Striker. And obviously, you can see my guest, Slammin Sammy. Sammy, welcome to the show. How you been?
What's up, King? How have you been? I've been pretty good.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm doing great, feeling great, looking great. You know the normal stuff, Sammy.
Right, of course.
Yes. And you know, we gotta talk a little bit about something. We gotta get there's an elephant in the room and it's on your shoulder.
Absolutely we do.
So you're carrying some gold now on your shoulder and waist. You defeated the auctioneer, Mark Bushold, for his Bushold Auction House Championship at PCWA Malvolence. Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
And that was on August 30th, just, little over a month ago.
Yes, that's right.
So, why don't you hold up that belt and show everybody what it looks like?
All right.
Front of that thing.
All right. Here's what it looks like in full course in action. So here it is,
Nice. I love it.
It's a great, wonderful belt too. Has some weight to it, but not nothing I can't handle. So
Right, there you go. And
Yeah.
you know, you couldn't have been a better person for that belt.
Yeah, that's true.
So, um, you know, I have to ask you, Sammy, um, how did it feel winning your first championship? What was your feelings that you
Oh,
had?
oh goodness, I felt so many, moments that were just very, very positive, like so much joy, excitement, happiness, even pride and gratitude either, because sometimes that's hard for people to have, gratitude when they, get the opportunity to hold gold. So, yeah, I just, I felt, very amazing, very, very great in a way. So,
Absolutely, and as you should. You know, that's a great accomplishment, especially being your first title.
yes, absolutely agreed.
So that you know that's awesome. You know, we're getting a lot of people commenting. Sammy Eric Cassidy says, "What a way to start the podcast." It always happens, Eric. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I would say
You
it
know,
was too. So,
yes. If anybody has any questions for Sammy, go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll get to them as quick as we can.
oh, yes, I'm absolutely ready for them. So, please do.
There you go. Love it. I love your enthusiasm. So, you know, let's talk a little bit about the auctioneer, Sammy. He was very adamant in making this grudge between you and him personal, between you and your family. But not only just you and your family, he made it personal with me also.
Yeah, he did.
So how did you take to that? You know, knowing what he was saying, you know, about your family, yourself, myself, and not only that, he sent a very disgusting package to your mother at a show. Am I right?
Yes, you are right.
You care to explain that?
Oh, well, you know, I would say, like people's first impression of me, to doubt me and think that I'm just nothing and I'm just gonna sit down and take stuff and people like the auctioneer, some whenever he was acting that way, thinking I would never win and I would never get the upper hand. But what I think he realized, in the end, is he was dealing with somebody who would just not give up, somebody who works hard for what they want. And my parents knew that I was going to deliver it to him, gonna send my own message to him, for not only myself but also for them as well, because if you were tuning in on social media with all the feuds and stuff, you would see that it got pretty nasty. Everybody was getting shots thrown at them. So, and even people outside my family, such as you and the rest of
Right.
them.
Right. And you know, I'm Sammy, you know, I'm always innocent. I never do anything to anybody, so I did not deserve that. First off, you realize that, right?
No, you didn't. So,
But you know, the gift that he sent to your mother at a wrestling show was morbid. You know, it was nasty. You know, tell the people what he sent.
well, so I was wrestling at a show, well, getting ready to wrestle at the show, and he sent a package, and in that package was Slammy the Bear's head taken off. So so it was literally just Slammin Sammy's corpse and a head, sliced in half. So yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, and with his head off. So
but it looked like this. It was beheaded.
yeah, it looked like this. It was basically beheaded. Safe to say, when I heard the news about it from my parents, I didn't take too kindly to that, obviously, and that motivated me, to work harder and train harder than ever before, to win this title fair and square, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. And your mother was such a wonderful person. She didn't deserve that,
No, she didn't, and she
you
is,
know.
and it's kind of bad in a way because some people have shot stuff at her, giving her the wrong impression, but to me, she's my mother, and she's doing everything she can, and for my career along with my father. So
Right, absolutely. And going off of that, Sammy, I saw a video of you and your dad backstage, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the guy's name. You smashed a milk bottle over his head, Sammy.
yeah, yes, I did. Yes, I did, and now I'm laughing so easily because I know what I did. So the person whose head I hit with the milk was Kyle Grant, who I actually ended up fighting for this belt because Mark Bushold was being a slime ball and just decided not to fa- face me for his belt. So he sends somebody else in that I would have to beat to get this title. And
Oh,
Kyle Grant was that person. So I mean, heck, me and my dad were just trying to have a good time, trying to talk about the match I had because I did I think I did an amazing job and whatnot, and then all of a sudden here comes Kyle with that milk jug bottle, and I got so agitated by him, and as he was talking, that I just immediately lost my cool and striked him so hard, that he could barely feel himself. You know what I mean?
you did, and I when I saw that, I saw the visionary coming out in you, Sammy. The visionary was coming out in you. So so now I did not know this until just now. I thought that you actually wrestled the auctioneer and beat him fair and square for the belt.
well, I didn't because he was obviously being a slime ball, and obviously I guess he was too chicken to face me. I
Well,
wouldn't blame him. I'm a strong woman, and that offends a lot of people in ways. So he sent out his personal goon that goon by the name of Kyle Grant. So he ended up taking his place, and the title was still on the line. So now, I beat him. I beat him, fair and square, like I would if it was the auctioneer's place. And then here I am now with this belt, as you see. So
yes. Wow. I when I didn't think that he can get any more slimier and disgusting of a person, you let me know now, and then it just I can see why he gets bullied. I can see why you want to beat his ass. Pardon my language.
yeah, why I did. That was before we made up and became comrades there. So
All right. Well, just remember, Sammy, you may think that he's your friend now, but to me, he's still a sleazeball.
right, that's true. Always
All
got to
right.
be leery.
Yes. I got a question for you, Sammy, from Eric Cassidy. He says, I've seen some videos of how different wrestlers carry around their championship. Some around the waist, some over the shoulder, etc. How are you going to walk to the ring with the belt?
Well, since I'm very like interactive during my entrance, I'm probably going to be like wearing it around my waist. So, and it stays up on my waist. So that's a good thing in a way. So I'll be able to get in that ring, hit my pose confidently. And then, I'll hold, the title up to like this, before, just, to set the tone, and the vibe for how the show's gonna be, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like Beetlejuice. You say his name 3 times, he appears. Mark Bushold just appeared in the comments. He said, Slammin Sammy, I have turned over a new leaf and now ready to be in your corner. But the milkman joke was funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, all I can say is, if he's saying he turned a new leaf, I can, believe him in a way. So, would, absolutely would love to have him in my corner. I can see you shaking your head already. Like,
Yes.
you know,
Sam, I'm going to give you one part. I'm going to give you some advice. Never ever trust a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Okay?
boy.
Just remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he's a Cowboys fan, so poor
He
him.
says,
But
he
hey,
says,
we can forgive him for that. So
you can, you can, but I don't have to.
no, you don't have to. I mean,
So he says it looks good on you, Slammin Sammy, referring to the championship. And your mom says, Mark is a new guy now. It's the Slammin Sammy effect.
yeah, yes, I would agree. I would agree with that. I call it, the Slammin Sammy effect, because I don't know what it is about me that sometimes attracts so many people into me. I think it's the fact that people see somebody who is in a way, not tooting my own horn here, but humble and a hard worker, and has had to overcome some things to earn this title, and especially it being my first title.
Right, absolutely. Mike Bucciaroni, I hope I'm saying his last name right. He says, Sammy, the auctioneer cannot be trusted. So,
Well, well, in many ways, that is true. Sometimes you gotta wonder what side of the fence he's on. But in a way, for now though, if he's saying that he's on the up and up for me, I'm gonna believe that, unless things unless things go haywire. You know what I mean?
okay, and that may quite frankly happen. You never know.
Honestly, you don't know.
And let's talk about this real quick, Sammy. This interview almost didn't happen because of Mike Bucciaroni. I called him out on social media yesterday, and he made a comment saying that there's another podcast that's better than Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk, and I said, well, you know what? You got to say Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk is the best in the world, or the Slammin Sammy interview is not happening. He had until 5 o'clock yesterday, and he done it. He got it in just in the nick of time. He got it in at like 4:58. So you can thank him. He almost ruined your day.
Right. I was like, Mike, don't ruin this for me, Mike. Come on now. I was like, we're friends. We can't be having these sort of issues here.
Yes. Bubba Brewer says, Sammy, congratulations on winning that title, and I appreciate all the support from you and your family.
Thank you very much, Bubba.
Thanks for tuning in, Bubba. I appreciate it. All right. So when you had Kyle Grant laying flat on his back in the middle of the ring, and the ref for that match was Bucciaroni, right?
Yes, he was the ref for that match.
So when he counted 1, 2, 3, and your hand was raised, what did you feel inside emotionally? And I'm sure your parents were very, very, very happy also.
Oh yes, they absolutely were. They've been through my whole wrestling journey, and they've seen some of the stuff that I've had to go through, some good, some bad. But they were very happy for me in that moment. in how I felt, emotionally after the 1, 2, free count, and when he raised my hand was I had overcome, which I feel like for me, in a way, that's who I am. In a way, I'm someone that overcomes things, especially when people doubt me. Ho ho ho! Then I'm a better, then I'm a better person. Then and I will be better at overcoming that obstacle in a way. I erased his doubt or anybody else's doubt. That they've had in me, or the words of people like him or anybody else who say I don't belong in that ring, or I don't belong in this business. You know what I mean? Because I've had people who've either think that or say that. So I feel like I put his doubts away, and anybody else who doubted me, and I overcame the big giant obstacle that was in front of me. So and obviously after that I felt happy. I felt you know overjoyed, like like again, like I overcome something, like I got to the top of the mountain, and honestly it feels pretty good.
It's good to be queen of the mountain, isn't it, Sammy?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes. Um, I dang it, I had a question of what that I didn't have written down on the top of my head, and now I forgot what it was. That happens. That happens.
Yeah, it does.
Um, so Eric Cassie has another question for you. Let's see. He says the king does not like Grado. Do you know who Grado is, Sammy?
No, I do not.
Okay. So, however, his entrance music is like a prayer, and a crowd dancing set the tone for the program. What song would you use to do the best belt swing for the crowd?
Oh goodness. Well, honestly, because it's been so good lately, I'd in a way I'd use my my own theme song, because it just it adds the right beat to it, to be able to swing this belt. And I have my reasons for why, obviously I do the belt swing. So you have that with my own theme song, and it's just something so upbeat and energetic that it gets you off your feet, and especially for me, since I'm the one swinging the title and whatnot. So
Right. And Eric, her music is "Kickstart My Heart" by Motley Crue.
yes, that's right.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And I remember what I wanted to say prior to. Um, do not ever let anybody else dampen your rain on your parade. If you're happy at what you're doing and you're working your ass off in that ring, don't let anybody else get to you. I know it's hard.
Right, it can be.
I know it's hard, but do not let them, you know, rain on your parade, shit on your cake. As long as you're happy and you're proud of what you're doing and your parents are proud, that's all that matters.
Absolutely understand what you're saying completely.
Yep, absolutely. Bubba says you have busted your behind and hitting the road, getting more and more experience.
You know what?
You
Yes.
are on the road a lot.
You know what? Yes, Bubba. I would agree with that. I am on the road a lot, and I've been on the road a lot. But it's something that I have to do if I want to get to where I want to go, and that's up in the big leagues and signed and all that. So
That's it.
I'm doing every part in my effort and with my family's help too, to get me there. You know what I mean?
Yep. He also says you're a role model for the kids, Sammy. I have seen it never change because those kids look up to you, and that is 150% fact. Bubba's seen it. I've seen it. Them kids. Those kids in Johnstown when you wrestled for APWF, they never saw you before, and
No,
and they were like magnets to you. They loved you, Sammy.
right. I mean, I mean, I don't, in a way, like that's what I really wanted to get my, target, demographic to is, young kids. In a way, I want to be like an inspiration for them, so that way they can, grow up and, and be like, hey, I'm doing this because, Slammin Sammy was, such an inspiration for me, in a
Yes.
way. And it truly makes my heart little kids. You know, I love little kids, ever since, in karate, because I was teaching, a bunch of little ones. I got to teach the little ones classes. So,
Nice.
I've been hooked on to little ones ever since. And, I don't know what it is, when they just look at me and, smile, and it's like they're having a good time and it's the best day of their life. So, because then I know what it's like to be inside their shoes, when they meet a wrestler that they love or get a picture with them, I
Yep.
know what that's like. So to bring that feeling back to them just feels very amazing.
Yep. Absolutely. Mark Bushold says 2 belt Slammin Sammy coming soon. I like that
Oh,
idea.
maybe, maybe. I've been thinking about that to myself, slamming 2 belts. It's, well, let's see what the cards play and, this weekend at Battle on the Border, I may
Yes.
come I may come back, with a heavier bag, if you will.
Yeah. Yes. And your mom says she is a kid magnet. Um,
Yes.
Now let's not get that. You know, there's somebody similar has a name like that in pro wrestling. Sammy. It's not a kid magnet, but a chick magnet, and that his name is CM Punk.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that's what CM stands
I've,
for, chick magnet.
yeah, I've seen all the memes, and
Yeah.
the way he is about it. So,
Yes. All right. One more question, and we'll move on to my next question. Eric says, "What's been the biggest challenge for you working the independent circuit compared to what fans might see in larger promotions?"
ah, well, the biggest challenge I think sometimes is someone like me, being like overlooked, in a way, and not, and sometimes not being seen as like, oh, we could make her this, and they're like, oh no, we don't, we don't, want her here, because there are incidents for some odd reason, that certain people do not want to have, me in their ring, which I don't sometimes, in a way, understand at all. But I try not to let it, get to me. And plus also a big challenge are some of, some people that I, work with, because this business is like tough and cruel in ways, that people don't understand, because some people out there just, don't do right. And there's some that you gotta be, leery around, because you're not sure sometimes, if you can trust them 100%, and and all that stuff. And people's mindsets clearly of how they, think about me. But I keep telling myself, to just keep doing your own thing and not worry about, all that drama, because sometimes, in a way, that drama is just not that drama. Well, in every way possible, it's just not, it's just, not effective. Sometimes you really feel it, and that's the worst, and it can lead to things like self-sabotage, or not being right up here. And you just can't have all that. But yeah, I mean, I'd say those are some of the biggest problems and challenges, working sometimes. but
Right.
but I keep, overcoming, and I keep up with, just, doing what's best for me, doing what's right for me, and making, decisions that are best for me, both mentally and physically. So, what they need to realize, is I'm not dead yet. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not going to be dead at all, period. So,
Right.
you know,
And speaking of Bubba, he's been telling me this thing that wrestling is a cruel business to be in, and you can take that any way that you want.
right.
Um, but I'm seeing what he's saying, and he is absolutely right. It can be very fun at times, but it can be also very, very cruel.
Yes, there are those times indeed.
Yep. All right. So back to Kyle Grant. Does he have a rematch clause, or does Mark have a rematch clause?
No, pretty much, they don't have like a rematch clause, after the match, Mark Bushold, has turned over a new leaf and is now, on my side in a way, and wanting to be, an advocate and in my corner, which I would genuinely appreciate, and Kyle after the match has in a way given me my flowers. Again, we're talking about like what we were talking about earlier, the Slammin Sammy effect of how I just, win people over in ways. So,
Right.
sometimes I can turn the biggest devils, into an angel in a way. So, you
Well,
know,
you did smack him over the damn head with that milk bottle, so you might have knocked him, normal.
yeah, I
He
might have
came to
knocked
his
some sense
senses.
into him.
Yes, yes, yes. And Sammy, in the past, few weeks, I've noticed a lot of conflict and dissension between Mike Bucciaroni and the auctioneer on social media. Are you taking sides since you're friends with both, or what's going on with that?
Well, let me tell you, no, I mean, for me personally, no, I'm not taking, any sides in this, because they're both for me right now, like right now at this moment, especially Bushold since he turned a new leaf. They're both right now like two great people in my corner, and honestly, I wouldn't be sitting here with this title belt, in a way, if it wasn't, for them, if it wasn't for all those memes and all that stuff, online, I wouldn't be sitting here without my, without my friend Mike, in a way, helping me and advocating for me in a way and being in my corner and being a supporter. None of this would have happened, So, you know, they're both great friends of mine. I don't, take sides in a way. I think, they're beefing over, their football teams, the Eagles and the Cowboys and all that.
Right. And they
You
both
know,
suck. They both suck, Sammy. You know that. Steelers are the best.
I mean, absolutely, I agree. So, I'm just like a Steelers fan, and I'm just like, hey, this is not
Yes.
this ain't my playground. This is in between you two, not me.
Yes. Yep, you're absolutely right. Now, Sammy, I did hear a little rumor, and I don't know if this is true, but in your match when you pinned Kyle Grant, Mike was the referee, like I said earlier. But was the 1, 2, 3 count a little fast? I'm hearing rumors it might have been fast. Is that true?
The last count. I mean the last count. No, it was not really fast in a way. It was just right, and I take this upon in a way. Mike was training, to be the ref, and he was waiting for that moment all this time. So he was training and doing his best, to try and make the match fair in between us two. So in a way, it wasn't fast, but it turned out, it turned out great in a way. So
Right. Uh, Mark says he can only count slow.
oh gosh,
See, there they go again, Sammy, starting
yeah, there
already.
they go again. If you two want to beef, take it away from this podcast, please.
That's right, because there's no beef on this podcast at all, fellas. The king is straight edge. There's no beef and nothing like that. Um,
Of course.
all right. So, obviously you're still training like crazy, Sammy. Are you doing anything different from the last time that you was here or here on the podcast? Anything different that you're doing?
No, I mean, I haven't been doing anything different, I still, I'm still one of those people, that believes, like in training, whether that's in the wrestling ring, or in the gym. I'm one of those people who believes, that you should be doing that, to stay precise on your craft and to stay, healthy, fit and in shape for your craft. Because, as a pro wrestler, there's a lot that we have to be accountable for and have to take in account, because in a way, we are professional athletes, trying to do all this, and at the same time, we have to take an account for all things, whether it be character in ring work, promos, anything from that, that you can name. And some people when they win a title, or they're so advanced, into their careers, some of them believe that you shouldn't be training anymore, and it's they're too good for that. My thing is this: I don't think that I'm too good for that. I feel like everybody still needs training. Everybody still needs practice. Everybody still needs to keep leveling themselves up in a way to get them where they want to be. I mean, I will say, if there was one thing different, is I'm training now with Glenn Spector, and he is a very great trainer within himself, so very wise and knowledgeable
The big
in a
boss.
way. Yes.
The big
Yes,
boss. He's been around. He's been around the world.
yes, he's been around the world, and doing things, and it's so nice to pick into the mind of him and all my other trainers that I have, because teaching wrestling, as they all say, is not a one person. It is not a one person job. It's like a multiple people job, and some of the best wrestlers out there didn't just have one person training them.
Right.
They had a bunch. So overall, I still take my training very seriously from inside the ring, and outside the ring, to stay fit, to stay on top of everything, and just to do what I can do as a pro wrestler.
There you go. Awesome. So now I want to talk about a certain match that happened over the weekend.
I know where this is going.
At WrestlePalooza. How did you feel about the CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Rollins and Becky match at WrestlePalooza?
I in a lot of ways felt like the match was a great performance. All that were in it, did a good job as performers. Like especially in the moment where AJ Lee hit Seth Rollins with the stomp. I mean, that was just so great, especially the way that he sold it to, and the way it was planned out and lined up was just amazing in a way. And I say this, because I'm always Team Rollins until the day I die, but all of them,
No way. Are you really?
but all of them in a way are great performers, and great sellers, and especially your guys, CM Punk, like, what I mean, like, it takes a special person, to milk the cells.
Oh, Sammy.
It takes it takes people to like milk the cells in many ways, which I think some examples of that are Punk, Rollins, and all the people in that match, and especially for AJ Lee too. She looked, she looked great because, it can be hard, being out of the business, for that many years
10
and then
years.
coming, yeah, for like, and then coming back and doing, a match, I thought that they all, handled it great and professional and in a way in a way it sends a message that, regardless of the little headbutt there was between Rollins and Punk, you can do your job and you can be professional and get the best out of each other, because that's what we want to
Right.
do. We want to get the best out of each other. We don't want to get the worst out of each other. So that's why, it brings me down in a way to see people, have the evil eye for each other, if you will, because
Right.
then that, because, you don't know if they're going to give you like a good day or a bad day or whatever. But,
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I am happy to see in a way that Steph and Punk right now are trying, to ease up on each other, and because we've heard about them, getting along, somewhat. So that's, pretty great. But
Well,
over,
I think Seth has came to his senses, Sammy. He knows better.
yeah, yeah, I think, it's also being a grown up too, be a
Right.
grown up and handle it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I think, overall the match was great. It was, exciting and fun. And everybody in that match, not just Rollins, everybody in that match did their
Right. So
parts and did an amazing job.
now, I got a serious question for you, Sammy, about this match.
Oh
Um,
goodness.
and I missed the ending because I had to take Phil out for a walk. He needed to go for a walk to do his business. But
Right.
who won that match?
And AJ Lee and CM Punk won that match.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. My headset's going. Can you say a little bit louder one more time?
AJ Lee and CM Punk won the match.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. I gotta get a new headset. All right, so early spring, Sammy, we met up for dinner and we went for pizza. You and your family, and your grandfather. We went for pizza, and you tried the pickle pizza.
Yes, I did.
And so I want you to tell me your thoughts on the pickle pizza, and did it live up to the hype and love for it that I told you it was?
Well, at first I was a little, in a way like sketchy to try it, but in a way my mind was like, okay, just try it, dang it. Come on. Come on now.
That's right.
Quit being stubborn like I always am, so and I tried it and I honestly I thought it was good, I thought it was good and I thought, in a way, it lived up to the hype that you were saying that it was. And especially because in a way, I love pickles, in a way, and I love pizza too. So what kind of question is that? Who doesn't like pizza nowadays? You know what I mean?
Right, but pickle pizza is delicious.
Right.
It is delicious.
I mean, it was pretty good. It was it was an interesting, it was an interesting thing because I never, heard of pickle pizza, but I thought, whenever I tried it, it was good and it was all, tasty.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that combination would be good, but it really is delicious.
Yeah, it
And
definitely is.
and I'm glad that you tried it. That made me happy that you tried the pickle pizza. Mark Bushold is saying email was a champion also the same night as Slammin Sammy.
Oh yes, he was, cause he was in a arm wrestling match, and he ended up beating his opponent. So he did an amazing job, We,
Who is Emil?
my grandfather. We call his name is Emil. So we,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
sometimes I run around here and call him, Emi and all that stuff. So, I mean,
Okay.
his actual name, most people call him Sam. So,
Okay.
and that's where they got, the nickname Sammy from. So they took it from there, and
Nice. Okay.
that's why I have that name. But yeah, now he's an arm wrestling champion. So so
Wow.
we always say, he's 79 going on 50 because he just doesn't stop. He keeps himself, working and in shape and
Right.
active and all that. So
Yes. Very nice young man for sure. And
definitely,
and your dad tried to pickle pizza. He loved it. He loved it too.
yes. But I
I
think
don't think I don't think your mom liked it so much, but that's all right.
I don't know. I think if you give my dad any food, he's just down. He loves any kind of food you put around him.
We
You
have
know,
that in common.
pizza, hamburgers,
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
everything and all that. So yeah. My mom may have not have been a fan of it, but my dad sure was. So
Yeah, he was. He sure was. That was a fun night, eating dinner with you guys and stuff. And I'm trying to come down your way to go for dinner at that place Ian's told me, but it's just not working out yet. But I will get there. I promise you.
right, yeah. I mean, mostly it's on us.
Yeah.
Mostly it's on us because I've been so busy with like traveling everywhere
Right.
and wrestling. So yeah, we'll
That's all right.
definitely
We'll
get
get there.
we'll definitely get you down to Bud Murphy's because that's what you're referring to. So we'll get you
Yes.
down there and give you some nice wings and all that.
Oh yeah. We'll be there for hours eating wings.
Yeah.
All right. So Sammy, Halloween is coming up soon. Um, do you want to give us a little insight of what your costume is going to be this year?
Well, I have a wrestling show coming up in October, so it's gonna be a cosplay show. So
Oh,
I'm not gonna give any hint to what it is yet. So you and the rest of the world will just have to wait and see. So because
okay.
it'll be a surprise.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Um, can I take a guess of what it might be? Let me guess. Is it going to be a Teletubby?
uh, no.
Um,
No, not a Teletubby. I don't.
Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, that would that would be a good one, but no, and I need somebody else to do that with. So,
All right. Well, I'm out of answers and guesses for that one then. What is your favorite Halloween candy?
my favorite Halloween candy is a Kit Kat. Honestly, you know, I love Kit Kats, and obviously because in a way, it's odd because I'm not really like a chocolate person, you know what I mean, or a sweets person. If I want something, then I'll pick up, like a chip, something like salty.
Right.
But in a way, I really like Kit Kats, and I and I don't break it apart to eat it. I just eat it whole on, which may be a
Oh,
debatable tactic for some people, but for me that's just how I eat it. But yeah, I really love the Kit Kats. So
hey, go hard or go home, Sammy. Eat
right,
that Kit Kat whole, girl.
exactly.
Have you ever tried them frozen?
Uh no, I don't really think that I've tried them frozen.
Try it once. When you get one, put it in a freezer for a little bit and eat it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to in a way, I guess. So
Yes. What's your favorite Halloween movie?
this might be a debatable one too, because in a ways, because it's Halloween in a ways, but then some people argue that it's Christmas, but it's for me Nightmare Before Christmas, because I'm not too much into all that scary stuff, especially when it comes to like the creepy dolls and everything.
Yes.
Like we watched like I remember seeing a little clip of that one girl doll named
Annabelle.
Megan. No, that
Oh, Megan.
Megan, and she was just very creepy. We were like, what the heck are we watching right now? This is just insane.
Those dolls are very creepy. I'm afraid of dolls and clowns. I absolutely hate them.
Yeah, they're really not fun.
No, not at all. Um, so I would have thought that you would be like a horror movie girl because you just seem like you would like the horror movies. Um, have you ever seen like the Halloween movies at all?
I really haven't seen much of Halloween movies. Like I've seen like trailers for them and stuff, but like I'm not really big on them
Oh,
as most
Sammy.
people. I'm not big on them as most people. So it's just not my genre in a way. So
Okay. Well, see, right, that's where we differ. We're all alike up until now. I love scary Halloween, gory movies. I love them.
yeah.
Love them. So, I've been seeing you got new merch out, huh?
Oh, oh yes, I definitely have new merch out, and lately, it's been selling, pretty good, and I actually have the new merch on me right now. It's the Slammin Sammy bear charm. I don't know if we can see it from here, but
Yeah, you can see it
the
a little bit, yeah.
yeah, it's a Slammin Sammy bear charm, and you can get it in whatever way you want, from a necklace to a keychain, and you can even have it on a bracelet. So you know what I mean. And these are just nice charms, which is what we looked for. We looked for quality when it came to making charms like this. I think it's super nice and super
Right.
and super adorable in a way, and they've been selling pretty good. And we also have like new like Slammin Sammy the rubber bands, so we have them in like a new color scheme and stuff. So
Very cool.
yeah, those are the new couple pieces of merch we've been having, and yeah, they're going away pretty good.
Good. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, um, get your Slammin' Sammy merchandise this coming weekend, Sammy, right? You got a show
Yes,
tomorrow.
yes, I do.
You want to tell everybody where you're going to be at tomorrow and any upcoming shows in the next few
Yes,
weeks?
absolutely. I'm gonna be at a battle on the border tomorrow, Saturday night in Indiana. Gonna be at it's gonna be held at the First Sales Pumpkin Show, and we have a whole you know sponsorship and connection going on there with the Versailles Lion Club too. So, we thank them in a way, and we're gonna put on a great show for them. So yeah, and I'll be in action, competing for women's tag team belts, and that's always such a great thing, because sometimes women's tag team belts ain't even on the monitor for some promotions or anywhere out there. So, hopefully, like I said before, I leave with my bag heavy, and me and my wonderful partner, Shauna Reed, who is a great, wrestling veteran in this business, who I've seen countless amount of times, and hopefully, we can put up the good fight, and survive everything, and win and leave with both of our bags heavy. Well, my bag will be heavier, but yeah,
Right.
but you know what I mean.
You better get somebody else to carry that bag for you, Sammy.
Oh no, come on. Come on, Larry. Come on, Larry. Have you seen these guns? I've been
I
putting the work
know.
in. Putting the
You
work
know,
in at the gym and all that, you know?
I didn't know you was going to a gun show. Put those away.
I've been I've been working
um,
on it, Larry.
yes, you have. Yes, you have. Any other shows upcoming?
Yeah, I have, shows coming up at PCWA on November 1st, It's always a nice company down there, I have so many people who support me, from Roy, Mark, to Rick, and a bunch of just a bunch of other great people that are around down there, and they
Very
plan
cool.
on utilizing me a lot, and prioritizing me, as a great priority for them to help the women's division go along, because they got a lot of nice women, in our women's division, and they put a
Right.
lot of great value to us. So, and then on November 8th, I'm going to be back at a PCWA where I'll be defending my championship belt too. So it'll be a big spectacle to be seen. So,
Okay.
and
Well, that
then
was that was my next question. When's your next title defense? Is it in November?
yeah, my next title defense will be in November 1st, and on November 8th I may or may not be defending it. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Very cool. I know you're gonna bring it. Every time you get into that ring, you're gonna do your very best. And I kind of feel sorry for the people that's on the other side of you. They're in for a lot. They're in for a rude
Yeah.
awakening.
Yeah, I don't hold back on my punches or strikes, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
not at all. And
I,
also, like I said before, I'll be at Mountain Mama Wrestling, where I'll be doing a surprise, cosplay. So,
where's that at, Sammy?
being for that Mountain Mama Wrestling is going to be around, and yeah, I have it. It's in Parkersburg, PA. So, Parkersburg, PA, West Virginia. So,
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. Well, you
yeah,
really are getting those miles in.
yeah. And as you see, I get so many of them. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes it slips my mind where they're at. But hey,
Right. Hey, that happens. Hey, you know what? When you're a champ, you can be wrong as much as you want. Just remember
yeah,
that.
yeah. Got a
Um,
lot on my plate and a lot on this shoulder here. So,
you do. You do. Um, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, please get the last minute questions in for Sammy. We're going to be wrapping up here pretty shortly, within the next few minutes. But Sammy, I got one last question. Well, I got one last question for you, and I didn't show you on the run sheet. I personally shared to you the run sheet and left us out. So, and I want you to think about this very, very hard before you give the answer.
right.
All right.
Yep.
Who is your favorite podcaster and your favorite podcast?
Oh, oh goodness. Well, there's a lot of them, but obviously, the king here himself, because he's been you've been very good to me in some ways. So yeah, in a way,
Absolutely.
you're one of my favorites. Being a supporter of me and being in my corner and having my back. Not saying all the other podcasts ain't good, but you know what I mean. They
Well,
have
well,
their own value too, but you also have your value in a way which I really appreciate.
Thank you. And Sammy, so let me understand what you're saying is you're saying that Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk is the best podcast in the world. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's what that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like what you were trying, to get old Mike there to say.
But you know what? See, Sammy, you know the right thing to say. It didn't take you hours to say it. You knew in your heart that I am your favorite podcaster, and Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk is the best podcast in the world.
Right.
So just take note to that, Futuroni. She said it just like that. It didn't take her hours to answer.
Yeah. No offense to everybody else, obviously, but
Obviously not. Wink, wink, right, Sammy? Wink, wink.
right.
Mark says, King, okay, Sammy is great. Yes, Sammy is great.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, Mark.
So, ladies, with that being said, Sammy came on Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk tonight. She was a good sport, answered all the questions I threw at her, even told me who won the CM Punk, AJ Lee, and Seth Rollins and Becky match because I missed it. Sammy, I just want to personally say to you how proud I am of you. You've came a long way in wrestling since the first time I met you. And you are such a great friend and a great, even better person. You're not just a great friend to me, but you're a great person to everyone also. And I appreciate our friendship with you and your family.
Right.
So thanks for supporting Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk, always sharing and having fun with us.
Right.
And you are truly the best, Sammy.
Aw, thank you. Well, I really appreciate it. And again, thank you, for supporting me and, having my back. Cause, sometimes, there ain't, that many people rooting for me or in my corner. So I'm glad to have you as one of the many that are actually in my corner and, rooting for me and supporting for me. I'm grateful for it all.
Absolutely. As well, I am as well. And, I meant every word I said. You are such a great person, and you're, things really looking up for you. So I can't wait to follow the road that you're going on. And you're going to be back on Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk, I'm sure, very, very soon with another belt on the other shoulder.
Oh, yes, I hope so. And I can't wait.
Yeah, Mark and Simon Peters says Sammy is the greatest. Very cool. Thank you for tuning in, Simon. I appreciate it. So, Sammy, good luck tomorrow. Safe travels, and let me know how everything goes. I will be watching a Penn State game tomorrow night.
Oh.
So keep me posted if you win another belt.
Okay, I will,
right.
and have a lot of fun with that. I'll definitely let you know how things are going and how the Slammin Sammy train is rolling. So,
absolutely perfect, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning into Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk. I am your host, the King Striker. That is the champ, Slammin Sammy. Until next time, we will see you on Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk next week, next Wednesday, for another great show. And our show next week is Wednesday, like I just said. We're going to be giving our top 10 indie wrestlers, just like PWI does the 500. We're doing the 10. So you never know who's going to make the list. So tune in next Wednesday starting at 6:30. Sammy, have a great night.
You too, my friend. I'll see you around.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
You too.
I got nothing else.
Is that it, guy?
That's it.
Cut it.
Cut.